Someone lied to you. It was not a small lie. It was not a casual misunderstanding. It was a deep, specific, devastating lie that planted itself in the most vulnerable part of you and grew roots. And the lie said this: God forgot about you. Maybe life was the one that delivered it. A season of unanswered prayers, a door that stayed closed no matter how hard you knocked, a silence from heaven that stretched so long you started to wonder if heaven was even listening. Maybe a person delivered it, someone who was supposed to represent love and instead represented abandonment, someone who left, someone who stayed but made you feel invisible anyway, someone whose words carved into you the belief that you were not worth remembering. Maybe you delivered it to yourself, in the quiet, in the dark, in the moments when the evidence seemed overwhelming and the conclusion seemed undeniable. God forgot about you. I'm here tonight to destroy that lie. Not soften it, not work around it. Destroy it completely. Pull it out by the roots and replace it with something so true and so unshakable that it will hold you for the rest of your life. Are you ready? Let me show you something. Right now, in this moment, before you drift another inch towards sleep, I want you to think about the most forgettable moment of your life, the most ordinary Tuesday, the most unremarkable hour, a moment so small and so quiet that no one would ever think to write it down or remember it. I remember it. I was there, present, attentive, aware of every thought you had in that moment, every small fear, every tiny joy, every passing hope that came and went so quickly you barely noticed it yourself. I noticed it. I notice everything about you. Always, without exception, without fatigue, without distraction. There is not a single moment of your existence that I have missed, not one breath, not one heartbeat, not one silent tear cried in a room where no one else was watching. I was watching. I am always watching, not in surveillance, in love. You have never been forgotten, not for a fraction of a second. The idea that I forgot you is as impossible as the sun forgetting to rise. I made you. I know you. I love you. Forgetting is not something I am capable of where you are concerned. I need to go back with you now, to a specific moment. You know the one. The moment things shifted. The moment something broke. The moment the light went out of something that used to feel alive and hopeful. I was there in that moment. I know you did not feel me there. I know the silence felt like absence. I know the pain felt unwitnessed, and the grief felt like it was happening in a vacuum where nothing holy could exist. But I was there, and I need to tell you what I was doing in that moment, because you have misunderstood it for a long time. I was not absent. I was not punishing you. I was not testing you in the cruel, clinical way that words sometimes imply. I was with you, in the pain, not above it, looking down with detached observation, in it. Feeling what you felt, grieving what you lost, holding what you could not hold alone. I am not a God who watches from a comfortable distance while my people suffer. I am a God who enters the suffering, who sits in the darkness with you, who does not rush you out of your pain because I am uncomfortable with how long it is taking. I sat with you in that moment, and I have been sitting with you ever since.
There was a night you almost gave up. I am not going to pretend I do not know which one it was. I know exactly which night. I know exactly what you were thinking. I know how close you came to making a decision that would have changed everything. And I need you to know what happened in that moment from my perspective. I moved. Not slowly, not after deliberation, immediately, completely, with everything I am. I am the God who neither slumbers nor sleeps, which means when you were at your lowest, when the darkness was its thickest, when the voice that lies was its loudest, I was fully awake, fully present, fully engaged on your behalf. What felt like coincidence that night was not coincidence. What felt like a random thought that pulled you back was not random. What felt like a small thing that shifted something in you was not small. That was me, working in the way I often work, quietly, through things that look ordinary, through a thought, through a memory, through someone texting at exactly the right moment, through something you saw that you have never been able to fully explain. I pulled you back because you are not finished, because your story is not over, because what I have for you requires you to still be here, and you are still here. I need to talk to you about the enemy, not to give him more attention than he deserves, but because you need to understand something about the attacks you have experienced in your life. The enemy does not waste his time on people who are not a threat. Think about that. The level of opposition you have faced, the specific ways you have been targeted, the areas of your life that have been hit the hardest, these are not random. They are not general. They are strategic. And strategy implies that someone sees something in you worth targeting. The enemy has read the assignment I wrote for your life. He has seen what I have prepared you for. He has calculated what you will do when you walk fully into the purpose I created you for. And he has been trying to stop it. Not because he hates you personally, because he fears what you will become, because he fears who you will affect, because the specific territory you will take when you finally walk in the fullness of what I made you for. The attacks were not evidence that you are abandoned. They were evidence that you are dangerous to darkness. Every hit you have taken, every time you were knocked down, every season of loss and grief and confusion, you are still here. That is not nothing. That is everything. I want to talk about what the enemy meant for evil. Joseph understood this. He sat in a pit his brothers threw him into. He sat in a prison for a crime he did not commit. He spent years in circumstances that made no sense for someone I had made a promise to. And the whole time, I was working, not despite the pit, through the pit. Not despite the prison, through the prison. Every injustice he endured was building something in him that the palace could not have built. Every year of waiting was developing a capacity in him that comfort would have destroyed. And when the moment came, when everything that was meant to destroy him became the very path to the destiny I had written for him, he said to the ones who had tried to ruin him, "You meant it for evil. God meant it for good." That is your story too. Every pit, every prison, every injustice, every year that felt wasted, every relationship that ended in pain, every door that closed without explanation, I meant it for good. Not in a dismissive way that minimizes your pain, in a sovereign way that guarantees your future. Nothing that has happened to you has the power to cancel what I have written for you. The enemy does not have that authority. People do not have that authority. Circumstances do not have that authority. Only I write the ending, and I write endings that make everything else make sense.
Your breathing is slowing. Good. Let that happen. Your body knows it is safe here. Let it sink deeper. I want to rewrite something tonight. Not your history. I cannot change what happened. But I want to rewrite the meaning you have attached to it. The narrative you have been telling yourself about what your story means. The narrative that says you are defined by what happened to you. That narrative is wrong. You are not what was done to you. You are not the sum of your worst experiences. You are not the product of other people's failures or cruelties or limitations. You are who I say you are, and the story I am telling about your life is not a tragedy. It is not a cautionary tale. It is not evidence of someone who was loved less than others. It is a redemption story, one of the most powerful kinds I tell. The kind where everything that was supposed to end you becomes the very foundation of something extraordinary. Where the deepest wounds become the greatest wisdom. Where the most painful chapters turn out to be the ones that produced the most powerful testimony. Your story is not finished, and the chapters still to come are going to make sense of everything that came before. Trust me with the pen. Let me tell you something about my love that you need to hear tonight. It does not have an off switch. I know that sounds simple, but I want you to feel the weight of it. Every love you have ever experienced from a human being has had conditions attached to it. Even the best human love. Even the most sacrificial and consistent love another person has ever offered you. It had limits. It had moments of failure. It had days when it ran low or ran out or was simply not enough for what you needed. My love has none of those limitations. There is no version of you that I love less than the version I love most. There is no failure you can commit that activates some kind of divine disappointment that reduces what I feel for you. There is no silence between us, no period of distance, no season of wandering that changes the fundamental reality of my love for you. It is constant. It is complete. It is not affected by your performance or your feelings or your consistency. On the days you feel closest to me, I love you completely. On the days you feel furthest from me, I love you completely. On the days you forget I exist, I love you completely. The love does not change because I do not change. And my love is not separate from who I am. It is the essence of who I am. You are loved fully. Permanently, without exception. Tonight, I want to speak about what I am doing in your life right now. Not what I did in the past, not what I will do in the future. What I am doing right now, in this season, in this exact chapter that might feel confusing or slow or like nothing is happening. I am preparing you. Preparation is one of the most misunderstood seasons in a person's life, because from the inside it looks like nothing. It feels like waiting. It feels like being overlooked. It feels like watching other people move forward while you stay still. But preparation is not stillness. Preparation is the most intense kind of activity. It just happens mostly underground. A tree in winter looks dead. No leaves, no fruit,
no visible sign of life or growth. But underground, in the cold, in the dark, the root system is expanding, going deeper, going wider, building the foundation that will support everything that comes in the spring. That is what I am doing in you right now. Going deeper, building the root system, developing in you the capacity to hold what is coming without being destroyed by it. Because what is coming requires roots, requires depth, requires a foundation that was built in a season that looked like nothing. Do not despise this season. It is not wasted time. It is the most important work I do.
I want to address the comparison. The way you watch other people's lives and measure yours against them. The way their progress makes you feel behind. The way their blessings sometimes make you question whether I love them more than I love you. I need to be direct with you about this. My love is not a pie that gets divided up. When I bless someone else, it does not reduce what is available for you. When I open a door for someone else, it does not mean your door is less important or less certain. I am not a God of scarcity. I am a God of abundance. And every person I made has a specific, unique assignment, a lane that belongs to them and only them, a path that was designed for exactly who they are. You cannot fall behind in a race you were not designed to run. The person you are comparing yourself to is running a completely different race, a different distance, on different terrain, with different gifts and different preparation and a different destination. The only question that matters is whether you are being faithful with what I gave you in the lane I designed for you. And I want you to know, you are. Even in the seasons that felt like failure, even in the moments that felt like going backward, you have been more faithful than you know. I see the faithfulness you cannot see in yourself. Breathe in deeply. Let that breath carry my peace into the deepest part of you. And release. Let the comparison go. Let the timeline go. Let the pressure of measuring your life against anyone else's go. You are exactly where I have you, for exactly the reason I have you there. And I am not confused or behind schedule. I want to speak to your identity tonight. Not the identity you perform, not the identity others assigned you, not the identity built on what you do or what you have achieved or what role you fill in other people's lives. The identity I placed in you before the world had a chance to tell you who you were, before anyone labeled you, before any failure defined what you were, before any wound shaped the way you saw yourself. There was a you that I made, pure and specific and filled with purpose. And that you still exists, underneath everything that has been layered on top, underneath the performance and the protection and the persona you developed to survive. The real you, the one I made, is still there. And I am working to bring that person fully into the light. Not a recovered version of who you used to be, a fully realized version of who you were always meant to become. You are more yourself than you know, and you are becoming more every day. I need to tell you about your voice, the words you carry, the things you have learned through your specific journey that no one else has learned quite the same way.
the perspective that was forged in your particular pain, the wisdom that was built in your specific waiting. That is not just for you. There are people in your future who are going to need exactly what you carry. People who will not be reached by a polished message from someone who never struggled. People who need to hear from someone who knows what the pit looks like from the inside. You are being prepared to be a voice for people who feel voiceless. Every wound is becoming a word. Every dark season is becoming a light for someone still in the dark. Every answered prayer is becoming a testimony that will give someone else the courage to keep asking. Your story has purpose. Even the parts that hurt, especially the parts that hurt. I do not waste pain. I invest it. I want to make some promises to you tonight. Not wishes, not maybes, promises. From the God who has never broken one. I promise you this. Everything that was taken from you, I am restoring. Not a cheap imitation of what you lost, a restored version that is richer and deeper because of what it survived. Also,
I promise you this. The people I have assigned to your life, the ones who are meant to walk with you in the next season, are being prepared right now, just as you are being prepared. And when the time is right, the connections will happen with a precision that will take your breath away. I promise you this. The dream that you buried, the one you stopped believing in because the evidence against it accumulated for too long, I put that dream in you, and I do not abandon what I start. It is not dead, it is a seed, and my timing for its flourishing is perfect. I promise you this. You will not always feel this heavy. This season of weight and struggle and confusion will not last forever. Morning is coming, not as a platitude, as a promise, from the God who personally invented morning. Joy is coming, real joy, the kind built on a foundation so deep that circumstances cannot reach it. It is on its way. Hold on. Your eyes are growing heavier now. The thoughts are quieting. The worries are becoming background noise. That is exactly right. Let everything that is not peace fall away right now. You do not need to solve anything tonight. You do not need to figure anything out. Every problem that exists right now will still exist tomorrow if it needs your attention. But tonight, you need this. You need the rest that only comes from trusting me completely. The rest that is not just physical, but spiritual. The deep settling of a spirit that has decided I am enough, that I am trustworthy, that I have it handled. Let that rest come now. I want to speak about the comeback, because it is already written. I do not mean that in a naive way that ignores real difficulty. I mean it in the most literal way possible. The comeback is a settled thing, not contingent on circumstances working out the right way, not dependent on everything going smoothly from here. Written by me, in ink that does not fade, the same God who took a shepherd boy and made him a king, who took a stuttering fugitive and made him the deliverer of a nation, who took a woman who had been bleeding for 12 years and made her the subject of one of my most public miracles, who took a man dead for 4 days and called him out of the grave. That God is working on your comeback. And when I author a comeback, I do not do it quietly. What I am building in your life is going to be undeniable, not just to you, to the people around you, to the ones who watched you go through it, to the ones who doubted, to the ones who wrote you off. The story I am writing will be impossible to explain without me, and that is exactly how I like it. You are almost asleep now. The world is very far away. Good. Stay here, in this place, with me.
Before you go completely, I want to leave declarations over you, not as a religious ritual, as a father speaking over his child before they sleep. Words that will settle into your spirit while your mind rests and do the work that words do in the deep places. Receive these. You are seen, not partially, not when you perform well, completely, fully, always. Every hidden thing about you is known and loved. You are significant. Your life is not small. Your choices are not insignificant. The things you do in faithfulness when no one is watching are building something eternal that you cannot yet see. You are protected. Everything that comes near you passes through my hands first. Nothing has touched you that I did not allow, and nothing I allowed was without purpose. You are guarded, tonight and always. You are provided for. The need you are worried about right now, I see it. I have seen it before it was a need, and I have already prepared the provision. It is on its way. Trust me with the timing. You are forgiven, completely, entirely. The record is clean, not filed away somewhere where it could be brought back out. Gone, removed, as far as the east is from the west. You are carrying weight that was already paid for. Put it down. You are healed. Whatever is broken in your body right now, I am touching it. By my wounds, you are healed. That is a finished work. Receive it as real, even before you see it manifest. Healing flows to those who receive it. You are loved. I have said it many times tonight, and I will keep saying it, because it is the thing you need most and believe least. You are loved. By me. Without condition, without limit, without the possibility of change. You are loved. Sleep now. Every promise I made tonight is active while you rest. I am working while you sleep. The restoration is happening. The preparation is continuing. The provision is moving into position. You do not have to hold it together while you sleep. You can completely let go. I am holding everything. Your tomorrow in my hands, your family in my hands, your health in my hands, your finances in my hands, your purpose in my hands, your heart in my hands. And the hands holding all of this are the most capable hands in existence. The hands that formed mountains and set stars in their courses and raised the dead. Your life is in those hands. Rest in that.
Sleep now, beloved, deeply, peacefully, without fear, without striving, without the weight of tomorrow pressing down on tonight. Just rest in my love, in my presence, in the unshakable reality that you are known and chosen and held and cherished by the God who made you specifically and loves you completely. Good night. I am with you. I will be here when you wake, and everything I promise tonight, I will deliver. Every single word. Rest now. I have you. Always.